Make it stick. New day. Jump into Anke. Okay. Nothing new today. So, what did we learn about yesterday? Yesterday we would have been into. All right, I got something. We would have been in the section about extended learning. Extended learning, updating retrieval cues. So, right. Okay. So sometimes when we're learning something, we'll need to actually change the cue. We got a cue connection to a piece of knowledge or memory trace. Sometimes we need to break the connection of one cue to one memory trace and actually take this cue and have it go to a different memory trace. Right? That's the updating the retrieval cues idea. Would we have finished up retrieval? We probably would have finished reading the retrieval section as well. Retrieval is taking something from long-term memory and pulling it back into short-term memory. Oh, there's something else. I guess. All right, there's no known limit to how much we can learn if we use, or if we connect new information to things we've already learned. This is the compounding nature of meta learning, that actually learning anything makes learning new things quicker, faster, because you connect it to more things you already know. Pretty cool concept. What else? Right. Typically, the bottleneck is not that we can't learn something or we don't know something, it's that the bottleneck is the retrieval cues. How many pathways do we have to actually pull that information out? Right? Okay, there's a lot coming back now. So how quickly and easily we can recall something has there's multiple factors that play into that, determining how easily and quickly you can recall something. That is, there are, when the last time you retrieved it was, to how many retrieval cues are present for that thing, and 3, how strong those cues are, how potent they are for retrieval. Okay. Here's some things that make some attributes of knowledge or learning that makes it stick better. It's vivid, it's personally meaningful or emotionally meaningful, it's connected to other knowledge, and it's periodically retrieved. Those are some things. Often when we are relearning things that we knew well in the past and we can pick them up quickly, it's not that we're relearning them per se, it's that we're actually refinding them, right? There's this memory trace in our brain that's already in the long-term memory. We've just atrophied a lot of the cues to it. We haven't used them in a while, so we just got to relocate this thing and make some new connections to it, and that's what the relearning often is. All right, I think that's a good amount. Right, I elaborated that self-directed learning is probably more effective than non-self-directed learning, because it's more personally meaningful. That's why you were directing yourself to learn it. So the more mental connections, more durable, robust knowledge. All right. I think that's good. We got everything I thought. I think so. Now we'll jump back into reading, and then I'll be back to recall in a bit. All right, easier isn't, or no. Update, extended learning, updating retrieval cues. That section is now, I finished reading that. Basically, the last of what I read was about the idea that paradoxically, sometimes when we learn new things, we have to forget old things, such as switching from a PC to a Mac or a Mac to a PC, or the book gave an example of the military jumpers, parachuters, becoming smoke jumpers, whatever that is, some kind of recreational jumping. Actually having to relearn the landing techniques and the jumping techniques is actually part of the military to jump school, and they say it's even a disadvantage to have trained in the military for smoke jumpers, because you've got to relearn all these things that have become reflexes, right? But often we're not forgetting, we are actually just repurposing cues, and that the things we've learned, like how to land, if you're a parachuter in the military, how to land military style, the way they trained you, is still there even if you start to replace the way you land with another technique. We're just changing the cues to new knowledge, but still have that other knowledge in long-term memory often. All right, that's pretty much the section. Next section is easier isn't better. Also, I wrote in a question. There's this question I had written in the book from the last time I read this. And I thought it was a good question that I have not answered yet. And it's, how does the forgetting curve relate to the idea of updating retrieval cues? Because it apparently is not as simple as just you know something or you don't, right? There's long-term memory and there's retrieval cues. So how does the forgetting curve play into that? It makes it a little more nuanced, more complex. And I don't have the answer right now, but I know there's something there. All right, I will, first off, what is this section about? Extended learning, updating retrieval cues. Two aspects of robust learning, the knowledge and long-term memory, and the retrieval cues, maybe. So robust knowledge or learning. Knowledge in long-term memory, two. One, knowledge in long-term memory, two, retrieval cues. All right, and so what is easier isn't better is the next section. And as always, we write, what is this section about? All right, I'll be back after some reading. All right, guys, wrapping up for today. We get this basically story, our experiment with at Cal Poly, their baseball team, and they noted in San Luis Obispo, which was just north of Santa Barbara, about an hour, so it's pretty cool. I was living right out there. Their baseball team underwent an experiment, or agreed to, and it was only a 6-week experiment, so not super long. 6 weeks in which two groups would undergo more batting training, right? These are already college level baseball players. You guys are already sufficiently skilled, but batting, as noted by the author, is one of the most difficult skills in sports. You know, you have to have these things automatic. The pitches are so fast, they're so mixed up. You've got like half a second to react. Like, it's got to be all deep muscle memory, ingrained automatic behavior and responses. And so it's a difficult skill. So over 6 weeks, there's two groups, right? And each group got 2 extra training sessions per week for batting and 45 basically swings per session. So really not that many 90 hits per week, so 540 extra swings over 6 weeks. This doesn't sound like that much. Very reasonable. Basically, one group is mass practice. They have 15 fastballs followed by 15 maybe curveballs, and then 15 change-ups. And then the other group gets everything mixed up randomly and relieved, right? The first group that mass practices, they see gratifying results. The more they get at the fastball, they keep getting better and better and better. Then they switch it to the curveball. The more curveballs in a row they practice, the better and better they get. They're making gratifying progress. The other interleaved group, not quite. They struggle the whole time, essentially. It's much more difficult. And so by the end of the 6 weeks, when we compare the two groups, we had astounding results. The group that was interleaving their swings actually showed significant gains compared to the mass practice group. To everybody's surprise, essentially the baseball player's surprise, right? What? We saw like getting better. Like, how are they better than us now? That's the power of interleaving, the more desirable difficulty, and what it can lead to enduring, precise, better entrenched, better learned knowledge and skills. That's basically the Cal Poly experiment. At the beginning of the section, easier isn't better. The authors noted that there is a direct relationship between the effort of retrieval and the subsequent amount of learning, and an inverse relationship between the ease of retrieval and the subsequent amount of learning. I think that's basically everything. Yep. That's everything. I think that's a very cool experiment, a very, very illuminating experiment. Again, showing the illusions of knowing that come from mass practice, and illusions of competence and mastery that come from mass practice, as well as underlying habit strength versus momentary strength. So that's it for today. I will talk to you guys later. See ya.